Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, comedian extraordinaire. Before we get started, let me say Ramadan Mubarak. In advance, I'm hoping that everybody has a successful fast. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm here today to talk about the Islamic City 30-day challenge to love Allah more. What does that mean, Preacher? It means that we're all going to talk about the different ways that we can love Allah more, that we can dedicate ourselves and devote ourselves to the Most High, and in this special time of the year, Ramadan, get closer to our Lord. Now, the way I'm going to love Allah more, brothers and sisters, is I'm going to focus on correctness. Self-correctness, emotional correctness, spiritual correctness. Because I believe in this way I get closer to my Lord because I'm a lot more humble and a lot more open to His mercy and His wisdom. This was a big thing for me when I became Muslim, about self-correction, especially growing up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, hearing all the noise about what I was supposed to be as a young black man, as a young black boy. And I found this calm, if you will. This calm that was passed down for me, from my relatives, my mom, my dad, all my relatives. It was that whole idea that we could self-correct ourselves. And I found this peace in the religion of Al-Islam. Now, you can't do what I'm going to do. I mean, don't copycat. Make your own video. I already said I'm going to love Allah more because I'm going to focus on self-correction. You have an opportunity to make your own video and talk about how you are going to love Allah more. That's right. So what are you standing there for? You got a limited amount of time. Ramadan is starting in like 15 minutes. I believe that you should get out and try to figure out how you're going to love Allah more. Make a video, 2 to 3 minutes. Join the challenge for Islamic City to love Allah more. I'm Preacher Moss. In advance, Ramadan Mubarak, and I'll be seeing you throughout this 30 days. Take care. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the ShOUT show. To everybody that's out there fasting, you know what it is. This is Ramadan 30 for 30, our 4th year. Alhamdulillah. Also, I want to throw out there, please, hold tight to your fast. Ramadan Mubarak. This is what we do. This is the Muslim time of the year. Don't get weak. Hang in there. So let me apologize right up front before I get to anything about this overlay. So here's the deal. I've never been close to any kind of graphic design. I'm a concepts guy. Normally what I do is I get the concept all together and I go find somebody that's actually qualified in graphic design and can match up what my concept is. Thus, as you look at this overlay prison that I've put together, I actually have room in my space, but I try to do something different. Satana warned me to stay away from Canva. I didn't listen, and I had an idea. You know, I was just going to change the numbers over on the side right here to day 5 and Jews 5. But what happened is I got ambitious. I was like, I want to take the title of today's talk, Evolution of an Apology, and throw it in there. Like I knew what I was doing. And let's just say this, brothers and sisters, because we're not supposed to lie during Ramadan when we're fasting. But this looks horrible. So let me apologize for my lack of professionalism, definitely my lack of taste and you know what? We need to just come up with a whole nother overlay. Satana's just been nice. You know, I don't even know. Look, I've been black a long time. The moon and the stuff. Look, we need to have some food, some Popeye's fried chicken on the side. Things that I'm thinking about as we head into our iftar. Shout out to my man Jawad. We did iftar yesterday, and we didn't do it at the mosque. And I tell you why. No offense. I just don't want to be around a bunch of people that are as hungry as I am all the time. I like to be around some people who are not fasting, who don't have the breath, who not reaching. I like my own food. That's what it is. I have to get used to it. I know we have community iftar and we're going to come together, but I ain't got to it yet. I'm just calling myself out along with this goofy overlay. So, Altaf, Eric. Well, first of all, let me shout out the Shadow Show soldiers because it's sure enough that I'm talking about this overlay. They are suffering in silence, looking at this monstrosity of they shouldn't let black people like me get a hold of. Look, I wasn't a good graphic designer. I wasn't even a good graffiti artist, people. So I don't know what I'm doing on Canva. So let me just shout. Let me get to the main part. Sister Reed, God bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us. Sister Reed's going to do a iftar with her brother, inshallah, soon. Please, please, please. I've said this every show. Everybody that comes on, please, whether you early or late, please, please, please get your payment information, whether it's Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is. Please get it to permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Again, that's permissiblelaughter@gmail.com, so I can put the money in your account and we can have our virtual iftar, if you will. So that's the bright spot. Other than, Satana, just leave that up there because it makes the overlay look better. No, okay. I'm really down on this overlay, but it's gonna work. Somebody's gonna say, "Ooh, preach, that was fly." Let me give a shout out to my beloved brother, Altaf Rashid, all the way from Toronto, Canada. What's up, beloved? How you doing? Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you. And I hope you and your family are doing well this blessed time of the year as we fast. And you guys are pretty close to iftar up there in Toronto. So shout out to you. And want to give a shout out to my main man. What's going on, brother Eric Carter from South Carolina? Beloved, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Always a pleasure to see you on the show. Make sure that you send your info in so I can give you money for the virtual iftar. What's up, big brother Bilal? Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing, Sheikh? Good to see you, man. Shout out to your queen, Sister Sonia. I hope you're doing well and having a blessed day. Bilal, you just came in. You missed my rant about this atrocity of an overlay. I'm going to get out the overlay business. I think somebody, if I was an alcoholic and I had keys, someone would take my keys. Someone should deactivate my Canva account, just in the name of people who would do. Altaf said overlay is fine, makes you look like you're doing a panelist or something. Hey man, I appreciate you. Your money is in the bank, brother. Your money's in the bank, Altaf. And I want to give a shout out, of course, to Sister Sultana. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, who was not able to join us yesterday because she was running a virtual baby shower. Satana, we shouted you out. We were really happy for you. I was like, go ahead and do that thing. You do that thing. I was really, really happy for you. But Sister Satana, you ain't slick. You still owe me a video. You're not slick. I got you. You still owe me a video. You got away from Sunday and Monday. You think you slick. You can talk about my Canva all you want to, but you owe me a video. Yes, indeed. And of course, we have everybody here, man. And I'm just making fun about the overlay. I think it's the deal that I'm so used to doing things on my own. Sometimes you do them, but you do them poorly. So let me call myself out. And I want to give a shout out to my brother who's fasting with us. Why, alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Johnny Thomas. I almost called you Johnny Taylor, boy. Shout out to JT. What's going on, beloved? Joining us, my brother is he's a working man. He's working stiff as of next month, so we might not see him on the shout out show, but he's gonna be here in spirit. Good to see you, beloved. Thanks so much for joining us, JT. Make sure I get your stuff because I don't think you did it last year. You missed the virtual iftar. You're always trying to get over on your brother. I might have to talk to you about that. Again, contact us at permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. All right, let me get to this part of the talk. If you look below me, and it's very, very confined, I feel like a black Max Headroom. If you look at me, below is the actual topic of the day, which is evolution of an apology. Let me tell you what happened to me recently. Someone who, we're cool now, we're good. But he apologized for something that happened in the past. And what I felt was that it just wasn't genuine. It wasn't sincere. I didn't ask for it. I didn't demand it. And the way it was given to me, so like piecemeal, like, so when somebody apologizes to you and they say the words like, hey, you know how it is. No, I don't know how it is. Just say the apology. But when you apologize, tell me what you're apologizing for. I think that was the thing that annoyed me, that the person was dancing around everything that he was apologizing for And I felt like the reason he did that, because if he just gave me the facts, it might link up with other things and other behaviors that he's presented in the coursework of our relationship. But I started about this thing, the evolution of an apology, and I was like, there are so many different components of an apology that we really need to look at. And here on the Shout Out Show today, we're going to look at the evolution of an apology, but we're going to break it down. We're going to be, if you will, strategic. We're going to stick to core values, and we're going to be a little bit creative. Don't you move. This is a Shout Out Show talking about the evolution of an apology. I apologize for this overlay. Satana, hit me.
We just need help. We just need help.
Imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Muslim Family Services at your command. The people who help people have to say, we need your donations, don't delay. We all have struggles from time to time, but leaders dedicated is what you find. Before another person sheds a tear, support Olive Branch, you don't have to fear. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Sing it with me. Ooh. Ooh.
Olive Branch Muslim Family Services in this great city of Houston. Make sure that you check them out. They are doing amazing work with Afghan refugee resettlement projects. One of the projects that they're doing, I talked about it yesterday, is helping people get their CDL licenses. And they are not cheap. Each of those licenses is $3,000. I want to say they've done at least 10. They got 10 people with their CDL licenses on the road to being entrepreneurs, over the road, if you will, OTR, over the road, on the road to being entrepreneurs and being self-sufficient. They're doing a special project. Make sure you check them out and donate a little money if you don't mind. They didn't ask me to even do that. I'm on their board, so I'm just like, let's do that as well. Brothers and sisters, please, 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 let's keep some prayers out there. There was another school shooting out in Nashville. 3 children were killed. 3 teachers were killed. I would say 3 adults were killed and 3 children were killed at a school in Nashville, private school, pre-K through 6. This has got to stop. I just don't understand and the shooter this time was a female with 2 assault rifles. This is what we start talking about, these diseases of the heart. I won't go too in depth with it. That's going to be one of our topics throughout the course of Ramadan. But it goes to, the permissibility in our society for actions. Think about when you did something wrong. Let's go back here. Think about the time you did something wrong and your mama, daddy wore that tail out. Wore that tail out. Wore that tail out. And what did you say? I'm sorry. I won't do it no more. I'm sorry. Do you wonder why the whooping didn't stop? Like, I'm sorry. Okay. It ain't working with my dad. It ain't working with my mom. They were like, we know you sorry. You gonna be sorrier. But my point is, at that situation when you got a whooping, parents wanted to know from you that you learned your lesson. So to throw out an apology, especially when you're young, it don't mean anything. Why? Because you haven't lived life. Your apology is fairly empty. And when you live in your parents' house, you don't bring value outside of the fact that you bring joy in their lives. And if you're not bringing joy in their lives, you bring in confusion and the blues. And when you got your butt whooped, the apology didn't work. Now flash forward to when you're an adult. All of us has gone through something where somebody has done something to us, about us, or whatever it is. But I'm saying that it required for communication to begin or repair to begin, that it required an apology, right? Yesterday we talked about breaking habits. One of the habits I had to work with is when I apologize for somebody, I want to be able to tell them what I'm apologizing for. Too often, brothers and sisters, people are able to give empty apologies, not knowing the meritocracy of being able to give an apology. That sometimes we don't even want to hear the apology from the person who's giving it to us because we don't feel like the sincerity there. And number one, there's not a track record. That you're sorry means that not just you won't do it again, but you show me evidence that you're not doing it anymore. That people can see some type of noticeable change in your behavior or demeanor that goes, that person learned their lesson. Case in point, in relationships, in marriages, in business. And the reason why you never hear an apology in business is because an apology in business means that you broke a contract. In our business relationships, in our marriages, in our friendships, if you will, I think the fact that people throw out an apology supersedes the act that somehow, somewhere, that there's a contract between us, that there is some unwritten rule and agreement. You know, in a contract has several parts. You know, there's acceptance, there's an offer, there's a primary stoffel, there's there's an agreement. And I want people to understand this whole aspect of a mutual assent, if you will. It's 4 parts of a contract: offer, acceptance, mutual assent, primary estoppel. Okay, they're not in order, so work with me here. But what it means is you've engaged in a commitment. Like if I told Bilal, I want you to paint my house. Bilal, I don't want you to paint my house. If I said, Bilal, I want you to paint my house, he said, really? I said, Bilal, paint my house, get the supplies, come on Thursday, and paint my house. I'm going to take care of you. And Bilal goes out and he spends his hard-earned money, his sweat equity, his opportunity costs, getting brushes, paints, drop cloths, all these things. He shows up to my house and he goes, all right, I'm ready to paint. I'm going, hey, man, I don't need it. I'm sorry. Bilal, no, forget Bilal. Sister Sonia probably going to try and choke me out, Bilal. She's not going to hear the apology. She's going right for the neck. And what I mean by that is she has every right to. She has every right to. That's in a contractual agreement. But life is like that. Our friendships is like that. Our relationships are like that in many regards. And so when people give us these sorries, it's not understanding of what was forfeited. My opportunity cost to do something. Like I reached out to tell my friend he was apologizing about this thing happening. He was like, oh, you're tripping about the apology. I'm not tripping about the apology. I moved on. You're apologizing after the fact. Okay, but let's talk about it. And I explained to him, I said, the action that you did caused me to have to do things differently. It caused me to have to rearrange my schedule. It caused me some issues of credibility because I promised something and you told me that it was going to be there and I did everything. And the part that didn't cross the finish line is what you were supposed to do. And so when you bring it to me, you say, hey, man, I apologize. Did you really? Did you come and say, hey, listen, let me pay you back for the money that you lost? That's just money. It's not about my reputation. You know, I'm a professional. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. If Satana is a professional, she says she's going to do something, she's going to, JT, we've done over 700 shows. That doesn't happen without professionalism and discipline. It doesn't happen. And accountability. I mean, barring this whole debacle about the overlay. But my point is, it requires that. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to continue talking about the evolution of an apology. Don't you move.
Hey, babies. Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear don't get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe, and your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.
All right, we're back. Talking about the evolution of an apology. So the reason I brought this up is during the month of Ramadan, you know the first 10 days are about mercy, and the second 10 days are about forgiveness. Mercy, forgiveness. In between mercy and forgiveness, in many regards, there is an apology. The apology is the pause, but also is the call to action to change behavior. Let me be very clear. I believe that mercy is tied to an apology, but I also believe that mercy is tied to forgiveness. That there is a bridge. There is a spiritual bridge that ties all three of them together. When people ask me for forgiveness, for slights, things they might have said, might have done, there's two categories of people. One person will say it and they pretty much know 99.9% of that they didn't do anything. Then there's the other person. They knew damn well what you did. You're still doing it. Forgive me. I'm gonna forgive you. You're still doing it. You know what you did. You asking for forgiveness, but you never gave me an apology. I don't know how that works. Now, this is not the time, brothers and sisters. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited or anything like that, but we have to have that. You know what? Because an apology, and my grandfather said, an apology demands accountability. You have to get up and say what it is you said. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I remember when I was a young Muslim, I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and there I was at Juma, and it's packed out, and a brother stood up, and he said, I need to apologize to the community. I was like, whoa, what is this? He said, I need to apologize to the community, and somebody said, well, what is it you did, brother? What you need to apologize? You know how black folks, tell us what you did, brother. Tell black man what you did. So he had adults. He had done adultery. And, some of those like, I didn't know she was married. So I'm just saying. And everybody began to judge this guy, this brother, stuff to the law, da-da-da. And I looked at this dude, and, he was getting beat up all over the place. And his brother's talking about, we're going to have to take you outside and give you lashes. I'm like, lashes? Damn. But I remember walking up to the guy, and I said, you know what? He said, yeah. I said, don't apologize to me. Don't apologize. I said, I have a very, very high level of respect for you right now. And I said, let me tell you why. I said, because the apology came with a case study of what happened, why it happened, You didn't want it to happen. You don't want it to happen anymore. And in the end, you are pledging to these people in these very short minutes that this is not the person you want to be. And I was like, this is amazing, and they of course they chased him out of the masjid. That's not the point. Well, it is the point. But I stayed in touch with his brother, and we always talk about that apology. He said, man, I wonder if I didn't do that, he probably would still have been done in the masjid. I said, but you did what you had to do, man. And he said, he found another community. He said, but my spirit was lifted. When you apologize to people and you really, really do it, your spirit should be lifted, but their spirit should be lifted too. It may take a while for them for the person you harm to get to that point, but it should be that you care enough to say, this is the reality of who I am right now. Inshallah, God willing, excuse me, maybe I won't be this person in the future. I just want to work on it. You're not telling them to stick with me, or hang in there with me, support me. They may do that, but this is who I am, and it's the essence of it. So I believe the evolution of apology begins with the fact that there has to be an accountability. And accountability starts with the fact that that relationship that you have, or that friendship that you have, that is a spiritual contract. And when it's broken, just like a regular contract, it requires a certain amount of mediation to correct it. But once it's broken in that situation, because in a business situation, I could sue you, I could do that. But once it's broken in a spiritual relationship, it's very, very difficult. And so I want people to understand as we get into these last couple of months, these last couple of days of mercy, asking for mercy, understand that the apology is a pathway to mercy. That when someone apologizes, they are asking for your mercy. This is the verbal, if you will, picking of the lock to open it up. Forgiveness is the thing that comes after it. And I know we got 10 days of forgiveness. Listen, none of us is perfect. I'm horrible. I mean, I'm not like I'm a monster, but sometimes I just don't get it right. Many times we don't get it right. I remember a brother was coming to me one time, and this is recent, and I was just laughing. I was like, yo, this brother gonna come over and ask for money. He don't know he owed me $200. And I was like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I said it to my boy, $200. And he came a preacher, can I talk to you a minute? I was like, you was gonna borrow some money. He said, man, I know it's been late, and I apologize, man. I want to get this to you. He gave me $300. And I was like, hey, man, it was only $200. He said, no, it took too long. I'll give you $300. Of course, I gave the $100 back because can't do the interest thing. But I was wrong. And as I took the money, I said, aside from you giving me the money, let me apologize to you. Listen, it did bother me. And then we talked about it. And we're the best of friends now. We're like brothers. But I'm saying these are the things that make us human. These are the things that make us better, too. Remember yesterday's talk about breaking habits. Every habit is not bad. Every habit is not bad. So for me, being a little bit more open to apologies, but also on the other side, before I give one, let me do this deep dive and understand exactly what it is I'm doing, so that when I give something to somebody in the context of an apology, it is robust, it's meaningful, and inshallah, it's accepted. This is Preacher Moss on the Shout Out Show. You guys have been amazing. Make sure you put your stuff in to permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Satana, we need to come up with a day that we're going to actually do our virtual iftar so everybody can have their money. We're doing $30. $30 this year. Satana, you're not gonna get anything. Your mom and them, they're getting $60. I'm gonna treat you like Bismarck. You're gonna get a wet food stamp. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with Satana, everybody. But everybody get it in because I want to budget it, and I don't want it to be a thing where I have to hang and work. Because as Ramadan gets busier towards the end, I get busy and I get caught up. So please let's do that. Sister Rabina has asked that her money be donated because they don't really have Cash App over in the UK or Venmo. So I'm going to donate her money to Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. You heard it here, $30 in the name of Sister Rabina Chowdhury. Whatever her Facebook jail name was, I can't remember. Do you remember, Satana, what her Facebook convict profile was? Khan Kurum, something like that. But anyway, got it stuff. Listen, I got to get out of here. You guys have been amazing. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Be careful about that apology. I'm sorry about this overlay. Take care. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.